Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing The Princess and the Fog. So if you haven't guessed already, we're back with a Meggen033 puzzle, and I'm going to say it's been a while since we actually played one of his fog puzzles. So I reckon we're actually a little bit behind. That's kind of my suspicion. Just have a quick look. Yeah, we are a little bit behind. I can see, I don't want to say half a dozen fog puzzles that are behind at this point, but it doesn't feel like we're exactly far off that. So there may be a few in the near future ahead of us. Nothing else to mention really, other than take a look at today's puzzle and rule set with The Princess and the Fog. Sounds like it's going to be a very interesting story ahead of us by Meggen033, and the following set of rules. Relatively simple, straight rules today. They don't seem to be that intricate. So normal Sudoku we're all familiar with. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row. Every column, of course, every 3 by 3 box. The grid is partially covered with fog, and correctly placing digits will clear that fog around that cell, and no guessing is required. So if this cell is indeed a 2, then all of the surrounding cells that are covered in fog will be revealed, and hopefully will allow us to make some progress. Digits in a cage do not repeat, and sum to the value in the top left. So these 3 cells have to add up to 11. And a black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2 to 1 ratio. So if there's a 2 in here, this cell would have to be 1 or 4, so that indeed one of these cells is double the other. And then, of course, we have white dots. So white dot between cells indicates cell values with consecutive, that are consecutive. So if this is a 5, for example, this would have to be 4 or 6 for it to be indeed consecutive. Not all dots are given. I think that's a fairly obvious statement. So if, let's make this up, this 2 has a 4 here, a 3 there, no white dot, no black dot, all of that would be allowed under today's rules. So, as always, to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. Right, so I clearly need to be thinking about these 2 clues in aggregate. So whenever you see 3 cells that cannot repeat connected with black kropki dots, you know we're dealing with the powers of 2. So there are 2 groups that can fit on a black kropki dot set, 3 and 6. 5, 7, and 9 can never work because double of 5 is a 2-digit number. Half of any of these odd digits will be a non-integer. So we don't have to worry about them. 3 cells cannot be 3, 6 because obviously that would repeat one of them. So this cell is 2, 4, and these are 1, 2, 4, 8. Now I have a suspicion that if I use one of these, let's say it's 1, 2, and 4, I don't think I'm going to have enough low digits to deal with the 11 cage, because the remaining digits that are low, so the 3 between the 2 and the 4, and then I'm left with 5 and 6. Adding these 3 cells together, I'm already at whatever that is, 14, too big. That's definitely a 4. These are therefore 2 and 8. And then the remaining digits that I have left are 1 and 3 and 7. Now, if I don't use the 1 and 3, what am I left with? So let's say without the 1, 3, 5, and 6, again, is too big. That's the reason we started this whole process. Now, presumably 1, 5, and 6, so again, if I don't use the 3 and use the next set of smallest digits, that also doesn't work. In essence, that is already at 12, 1, 5, 6. So 1, 3, 7 is forced. The 7 has to be on here because the 1 doesn't have a 2 and the 3 doesn't have a 2 or a 4. They're all gone. So that's 7. That's 1, 3. This doesn't have an 8. It's in the pencil marks here, so that's a 6. Then we have a 5, 9 pair in here. Let me just clear up grid a bit. An 8 cage always has a 1. Always. In 3 cells, excuse me, because 2, 3, 4 without the 1 is already at 9. And my options are 1, 2, 5, and 1, 3, 4. Now I'm just thinking about what is this cell. So 1 would be 2, would be 4, would have to be 5, 6, 3. Just riding this long white kind of kropki dot line and sort of finishing in here. So 1 works, but I imagine a lot of them are actually going to struggle. Let me try the next one. 2 is a bit difficult. I can't go back to 1 because that would be a 2. So it would have to be 2, then 3. Then it would conflict immediately with a 6 because double of 3 is the only available option and it breaks. So 2 is not an option. 3. Technically this works. I could do 2, 4, 5, 6, 3 again. Checking, can I do 3, 4? I suspect I can't go back down to 2 because I can't do 1, 2, and I certainly can't do 3 again. So if I go to 4, this would have to be 8. And then I think I'm in trouble, aren't I? No, I could do 7, and then I'm back to 6 and 3. Because obviously I can't go 8, 9. That would be 10. But I could do 8, 7, 6, and 3. So far, you can see the common digit here is the 6 and 3. Hopefully our luck will hold out. A 4 in here, can't go to 5 because that's not a black crop key dot digit. I can go to 3, but then I'll break with the 6. And then last option is 5. 5 in here. Well, presumably I could do 4, 8, 7, 6. That's fine. Could I do 4, 6, 3? 2, 1. That is frustrating. That is a yes. So I could do 5, 6 going up, 3, 2, 1, and 2. So no resolution. The other thing as well is that both the 3 and the 5 work. So it doesn't help me determine which one this is. So this 4 tells me this is not 4, 8, it's not 2, 4. So my options for this is 1, 2, which you can see how it conflicts with this, would essentially dictate the direction of 6 and 3, or it's 3, 6. So like essentially these 4 cells are different. They are a quadruple of 1, 2, 3, 6. And therefore, so if this is 1, 2, that's 3. This is 3, 6, that's 1. This is never 1. So essentially it's 1 of 2, 3, 4, 5, keeping in mind these cells, but it can't be 4. This is starting to get very tricky. All right, so if this is 5, this would have to be 1, this would have to be 2. Let's just play that out because that can never be 1. So if that's 5, that's 1, that's 2. That can no longer be a 3. Because I'd need a 1, 3, 4, and I can't have 1 or 4 in here. So 3 is actually off the table. So 1, 5, 2 works so far. 1 in here with a 4 and 3 presumably would work, would it? Well, if this is 1, I think we've determined this would be 6, this would be 3. So this would be a 1, 2 pair, that would be 3, and then I can't place 4 or 3 in here. So this is actually forced now. This is 5. Whoa, what have I done? Okay. Why did it look like the 1 doesn't work? 1, 2, 3, hang on. No, hang on. 1, 2, 4. Yes, 5, 6, 3. And if it's 3, this is 1, 2. This becomes 3, and this becomes 2. Oh, of course, I could have a 5 in here, excuse me. But I guess what I'm saying is that it's not 1, 3, 4, it is 1, 5, 2, isn't it? And the 2 is the common digit in here. I think that's what I'm saying, because that cannot be 3 or 4. And therefore no 4, 1, 5 pair, and it's always 2. Oh, come on. I'm rushing this. Let's clean this up a bit. Where is my logic tripping up? Because it clearly is. 1, 2, 4. Can't go back 3, 2. So 4 will have to continue to 5, 6, 3. This is not 3, 6. This is not 2, 4. This is not 4, 8. So this would have to be 1, 2. That's forced. That becomes 3. And with the 3 and 4, Yeah, again, this could be 5. Of course, it's not a 2. I don't know why I'm obsessing with the 2. Right, so the 3 and 4 are not valid, but we end up with this 3 cells that are all possibilities. And then, of course, that could be 5. 4 and 6 we've demonstrated works, haven't we? Because I could do 5, 4, 8, 7, 6. Yeah. And 5, 6, 3. But it can't be 4, so it'll have to be 2, 1. So I can't even force this. I'm missing something. No 2. Embarrassing. No 1. Always 6. Always 3. Not 3, 6. Always 3. Never a 2. 5, 1, 2. Whoops. And then all of that is forced. Not sure how I missed that for so long, but you'll be very kind in the comments, I'm sure. Right, remember, no repeats inside the 9 cage. So 9 and 3 cells could be any of the following: 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 6, and 1, 3, 5. 2, 3, 4 works with 3, 2, and 4. That looks fine. 1, 2, 6. 6 here, 2 there, no 1, no 6. 1, 2, 6 doesn't, because essentially this cell is none of them, not 1, 2, or 6. That's off the table. 1, 3, 5. 5 would be in here because of the, oh, hang on, excuse me. 5 would be in here because it's not 1 or 3. And this would be a 1, 3 pair. And it could be either. Well, no, the 3 is not here. The 3 is there. This would be a 1. So this is always a 3. And then we have 2 cells that add up to 6 in here with 1, 5 or 2, 4. Okay. One, 2 pair. Is it this white crocodile dot or this white crocodile dot next? Let's have a think. So this cell is not 1, 2, 3. Technically, I get away with a 4. And then it's open season, no. Now, I can't have 1 or 2 on here, because essentially I need a run of 3 digits, and 1, 2 are blocked by the 3. So I could have what appears to be anything between 4, 5, let me just write this down. And then any 3 consecutive digits. It's quite a lot of options, except the 7 is not here. So it's not 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6 works. 5, 6, 7 works. Does it? 5, 6, 7, excuse me. 5, 6. Does it work? It would require the 5. There's no 5s in either of these, so this is never a 6. So 4, 5, 6 works. 5, 6, 7 doesn't. 6, 7, 8 doesn't. And then 7, 8, 9 is the last option. Right. We have direction on this, don't we? 5 doesn't. 4, 6 isn't here. So this is actually forced with 7, 8, 9. 9 is not there. That's the 9. That's the 7. 5, of course, gave me 9 and 5 had I paid attention, which gives me 4 and 2, 1 and 2. Might be useful, but I'm not going to worry about it just yet. This, if I'm honest, looks a bit more tempting. 3 cells that add up to 19. Quite average. It's essentially just over 6, 6 and a third. Which gives me a ton of options. So I'm going to pencil mark these, not my style. But so far I've been doing a lot of, frankly, guessing. No 1. Otherwise these 2 cells would be 18. 6 would require 2 cells to add up to 13, but it wouldn't be 4, 9. And it wouldn't be 6, 7, it would be 5, 8. So it would be 5, 8. 5 would require 2 cells that add up to 14. And it wouldn't be 5, 9, it would be 6, 8. And then the last option is 4. With 2 cells that add up to 15. And it wouldn't be 6, 9, it would be 7, 8. I think what I'm noticing is that the 8 is always there. That seems to be the conclusion, isn't it? It's either 6, 8 with the 4. No, 7, 8 with the 4. 6, 8 with the 5. Or 8, 5 with the 6. Yep. So 8 is down here. Is that at all useful for this white crocodile? It still feels premature. This is 3, 7, 8, 9. Not hugely helpful. All of these cells are basically available here, so not great. Right, not 1, not 2, not 3. Because it can't be 3 here, and if it's 3 there, I need 2 or 4. 4 with 5 works, does it? Essentially leaves 1 and 6 here. I think it does. 5 with a 6 works, as does it with a 4. I can't have the 5 here because this is not 4 or 6. 6 works with a 5 or a 7. And I think that's it because the 8 is blocking the rest. 6, 7 doesn't work, does it? Yeah, it does. 5, 8 up here. 5, 6 might be troublesome. 5, 6 might be troublesome because essentially it removes 5, 8 as an option. It removes 6, 7 as an option. No, 7, 8 remains an option. This is a harder puzzle than normal, I'm finding. I might have to start pencil marking a bunch more, or once again, I'm missing some very obvious Sudoku that would have knocked out some of these options. All possible. There's a 7 in here, in whatever this 2-cell cage is. Let's do some pencil marks. 2 in there, 3 in here, 1 can't restrict. So 2, 3, 4 is there. As is the 5, so that's a 4, 5 pair. So that can't be 4, 5. There is no 4. There's always a 6. There's no 6 in here. I can't actually see what this cage is. 16. Come back to that. 6 removes the 6, 7 option. So it's either 5, 8 or 7, 8. The 6, 7 is when I need a 13 in here with a 6. No 6s, no 6s, is a 6. Come on. Wasn't 6, 7, excuse me. When I needed 13, it was 5, 8. So what was the 6 option? It was 6, 8. When it added up to 14, and then I needed a 5. So 4 with 7, 8, 6 with 5, 8. Yeah, that's still available. Not my best solve, is it? Let's keep going. 4, 5, 7 is here. Sorry, have I done anything with the 6s? No. 7 and then 8. 3, 8 pair. 9s we can't do anything with. Okay. Kind of. So we actually know what these 2 cells are. 6, 9, isn't it? Yeah. and therefore we know what these two cells are, 1, 7, and therefore we know what these two cells are. I also know where 8 is, isn't it? It can only be in here. No, sorry, excuse me. I've already got it. 1, 2, and 6, 9. We know where the 6 goes. It can only be in here with a 9. Clearly, I'm not on the right path for solving this. We should probably think about the 16 cage. 3 cells that add up to 16. You see, if I place a 1 in here somewhere, I would need 15. It would have to be 7, 8. Possible. I'm not sure how useful this is. I'm gonna lose the 8, so I can just leave it. Two's in here, not very useful. Is there some kind of combo going on here? 4, 5, 7, 8. Yes, that's a quadruple. So the rest are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. The only place for a 4 is in here. 5, 7, 8 triple was there for the taking. 1 we said works with 7, 8. Now we place a 9 in here. 2 would require a 14. That would be 5, 9, which isn't available. So that's not a 2. 3 would require 13, which is not 6, 7, not 5, 8. It would be 4, 9. So there's always a 9 here now. No, it's either 9 with 7, 8, or it's 3 with 9, 4. And then that would be 1, 5. That would be 7. That would be 8. So that's fully pencil marked. And 4, 9, and 7, 8 have no common digits. 1, 3. I don't know what's going on. No 6. No 6. 6. I'm probably missing some obvious things. Okay, not that obvious. You're looking at a whole bunch of pencil marks, basically, and you're trying to remember from all of the options which ones are potentially knocking each other out. Not necessarily the most intuitive. 6, 7, 8. Definite 1 in here. 3 is there. 1, 4 pair. To have another 3 with another 6, 7, 8, and a definite 9. The 9 is not here, the 9 is up there. Not great. These two cells we know. 4, 5 pair, from the looks of things. And then another 6, 7, 8 with... Hang on, where did the 9 go? Why did I misplace the 9? Yes, because that's not 4. That's 5, 9. And then another 6, 7, 8. Actually, 2 6, 7, 8s. So these are just 6, 7, 8s. That's not a 6. There's a 6 down here, which we kind of knew anyway. Not useful. 3, 4, 6, 7, not quite. 8, 9, not quite. And the 2 down here we sort of knew anyway. Awkward solve. I don't know if it's just I'm not fully awake or is actually a more challenging puzzle than expected. We have another 5, 7, 8, 9 in here. Okay, so the 12th cage must be helpful. 9-3, I generally don't see a problem with that. 8-4, still not seeing a problem. Like, is it meant to influence the 16? 7-5, and then, yeah, I'm just copying digits. It's not useful. No, it's got to be something more obvious. Otherwise, it really doesn't feel like a 1-star difficulty rated puzzle, which this is. So I just need to pay attention. So when this is 5, this is 1-4, this is 3. That doesn't work, does it? Try that again. 5 requires this to be 1-4. That becomes 3. And then I need 13. And that was my 4-9, which I've just used. 7. No 7s. Is 5-8. 13 requires a 4. No 4s. 1-5 pair. Is a 3. Requires 13. So not 7 or 8. Is an 8. Not sure why I didn't see this earlier. Is a 6. I don't understand. Why am I getting really simple things wrong repeatedly? My pencil marks are clearly not very complete. And that 4, yes, because I made a mistake. It needed to be a 6. That's a 4. It's quite the understatement to say this is not a smooth solve. Not 4 is a 1 is a 4. Not 6. So up here is what? 7, 3 and 7. Not helpful. Is this remotely useful? Not yet. What's going on here? 4 is there. That's about it. This pencil mark, actually the 1 gave me a 2 and a 1 and a 2, and therefore 1, 3, 7, not a 1. 3 doesn't work because it requires 2 or 4, which is not available. 9 with an 8, I think, works fine. 8, it's 7 or 9, works fine as well. Essentially, it's a copy of these digits plus the 6. It gives me almost a quadruple, but not quite. 1s, 1s is a 1. Can't do much with this yet. 4, so 3, 4, 6, 7. Can't even remove the 6 from here. So this is just 3, 6, 7. Not helpful, not helpful. There's a 9 in here. Actually, we know these two cells. They're now 5, 9. Yeah, which removes the 9 option and the 3. The 5 not being available removes the 7, so that's 8, that's 4. This is not an 8 cage. In fact, if we play this in here, that's 7, that's 9, that's 4, that's 5, that's 1, that's 5, that's 3. This is not 3. 3 can only be in here now. That's not 3. That's not 8. In fact, neither of them are. So this is an even digit, of course. You have to have an odd and an even digit for them to be connected. This is 279. It's not a 9, in fact. That's just 7. This is a 1-2 pair. These are not 7s. This is a 6-8 pair. This is a 9. 9, 8. Not 8. 6, 7. Yeah, doesn't help. No 9 is a 9. And then essentially 3, 6, 8. Neither of which is 8. So this is 3, 6. 3, 6. Only place for an 8 is in here. In here. 7, 6, 8. Right. 7 gave me 3, 7, 3, 6, 5. So I'm proceeding with caution now because I've been rushing this earlier and it's not been helpful. 4, 6. In fact, we know where the 6 is. Sorry, the 4 is. It's not here. It's here. 6. I have no idea what this cage is. We don't actually have a total. I think the only thing that it's saying is that there are no repeats. That's what it's telling me. Sorry, I put the 9 and then I'm trying to type the 5 and struggling. 9, 6, 8, 3. And then, yes, we need to resolve this without repeats. That's kind of the conclusion here, isn't it? So, for example, if I put a 1 in here, you have to put a... No, that also works. If I put a 7 in here, that would be a 7 in the same cage. That doesn't work. So that has to be the 2, the 7, the 1, the 7, the 2, and if I've not made more mistakes, the 1 for the finish. Tough puzzle, Meggen033. I think it really required an awake version of me. Hopefully you guys are awake when you try and actually solve this particular one. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and just be gracious in the comments down below. See you back soon. Bye-bye for now.